All right. Welcome back to Another Dimension. I'm Quinn.
I'm Trask.
I'm Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
What's up, Taylor?
Just drinking this Rockstar.
You are not a rock star, my friend. Wannabe rock star.
I've put in my time.
That stuff. Okay.
You want to talk about your sugar-free Berry Blast Breeze, whatever you've been drinking lately?
What was that?
Have you heard of any studies about that causing cancer or Monster?
Sure.
Literally all of them.
I was just talking to a guy who was sponsored by Monster. Long story short, brain cancer, believes it was from that.
Really? That explains a lot about Travis. He used to drink 26 things of those a day.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I could see it being bad for your heart.
Yeah.
I saw a TED Talk on the, what's the, Celsius, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw a TED
That was
Talk
like
on
making
Celsius.
college athletes fail drug tests and stuff.
What?
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it has a,
Like an HGH hormone or something in it. Or
yeah. And
something.
then there's also something in it. You have to look, they always say, look at the ingredients on drinks. And if you see it's called like Sino something. And that's probably one of the things you're alluding to where this guy was saying it causes cancer. But
It's sad, though, because like that was pumped out. I mean, I think about college. They had the Red Bull girls just driving around campus.
Celsius
handing
is
out,
deemed as like a weight management tool.
right.
And I drank
They're
that
good.
stuff.
So
It
it's
tastes
plant-
like a little bit vitamins
Yeah,
in
It's
the
a
bottom.
little chalky, kind of.
it's good. I don't.
Yeah.
I quit. I mean, I saw that.
I remember in college, like the Red Bull girls would just drive around in those like Mini Coopers
Yeah.
and hand out cases of Red Bulls, and we just hammer them with vodka in college.
It's kind of like, what was the? Well, this is great, Quinn. When they started Oxy and all that stuff, remember? And they had the documentary on it.
Yeah,
And the doctors were writing all the prescription for it. And,
yeah. What is it? The Shacklers, the Shackler dynasty, or something
like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like common
would
because it
hand it
was
out.
good for this and good
Yeah.
for that.
They're
Is that,
just
the same,
handing it
is
out.
that the same thing?
It's
Maybe?
maybe, but I don't think that you could just get those on the street. I think you still had to get them through a pharmacy.
Yeah, but they're still handing them out left and right.
Yeah.
They definitely hammered on a generation with this
Yeah.
stuff.
Anyway,
you could swipe your meals at Stevens Point. You instead of eating a meal, you could get 4 of these with your meal. So at the end of the year, we had meals left over because like I would go home and stuff, and I didn't use them all. We took home like boxes of these things and then sold them at parties for $1.
Smart.
Yeah, but like to your point, they just like anywhere and everywhere.
Well, beware of what you're
Right.
putting in your body. But
Yeah.
I'm not like a big health nut.
Well, maybe
but
we'll talk about driver health fitness next week.
That would be good.
I mean, this was a very weird start to this podcast, but
Anyway.
keep
Want to talk
pounding the
about
Rockstar, Taylor.
It explains a lot.
you
You want to talk about insurance rates
Yeah, they're
in
high.
the news? They're the most recent study came out for small carriers, and it was a 2-part study. One deemed towards small carriers, one towards the large mega carriers. The large mega carriers are getting a huge decrease in Q4 based on these studies. The smaller carriers are getting an increase of 12 to 29%. They're saying. They're citing the fact that these increases are coming because of these nuclear verdicts, which we've talked about multiple times, right? You can only beat that horse so many times. But it's coming down the line. They said the average settlement of a nuclear verdict last year, take a guess,
7 million.
31.8 million. Yeah. Can you imagine? Like, how long can that go on?
Does that include like class action lawsuits where there's multiple?
I don't
people?
know. I don't know that answer. I'm assuming these nuclear verdicts are for like one-on
Single
like
party
situations, stuff like that.
And the bad thing about that is that something horrible happened
Right.
in that situation, right?
It's bad. Like, it's not a good thing.
No, it's unfortunate. It's horrible.
Right.
But I mean,
Want to talk about something else horrible? California.
not really. California protests.
Well, no, I wasn't going there, but those are going on.
Yeah.
I talked about my cousin Tim, who lived out there that with the automatic.
Uber.
Yeah. He sent me a thing on like the raids and everything going on. I guess it's pretty nasty. But California just proposed and okayed the testing of autonomous trucks on certain designated public roads.
Yep.
Which is a big step for the industry in a sense of, hey, this technology is here. Let's figure out and make it work. So if we have to use it, we can. But the reason that they're doing this and the reason they pushed it is because they're trying to get ahead of this driver shortage that they're citing.
Allegedly.
Alleged driver shortage. So we can hop into that a little bit. They're saying by 2030, the industry is going to be short 130,000 drivers. Holding all things aside, because that number is skewed left and right, you can make it look however you want, right?
Yep.
Is there too much freight? Is there not enough trucks? Is there this? Is there that? Let's just dumb it down to just a simple question. They're short 130,000 truck drivers, right? How much do you think they would be short if people just planned better?
0.
Right.
Like, make it work.
Right.
You don't need your Amazon the next day.
Right. Put two things together.
Yes, there's not food sitting on the dock that's rotting, right?
No.
Everything's getting moved. The driver shortage is it's a bullshit
farce.
thing. It's a farce created by I don't really know who, but there's too many trucks on the road.
You think there's too many?
Yeah, there's too many trucks.
Another interesting study. This is
or too many trucks available.
Right. I would agree with that. But here's another interesting study, and we're not going to go down this rabbit hole because I don't want to talk about it, for one. But for two, it's just stupid in my opinion. I'm not saying it's a problem, or it's not a problem, but they said that for every 11 trucks on the road, there's 1 parking spot available. How do you say that? How do you go out and even study that?
What's ATRI, right? ATRI. They're a big
I've heard of that, yeah.
data.
But it wasn't from them.
I mean, if they're purely looking at truck stop parking, I mean, I'm sure they have records of how many trucks are going down the road.
100%.
I mean, it could be accurate. I don't know.
But they're not all parking at the same time. They're not all running the same schedule. I mean, in a normal day, in theory, if someone isn't doing a restart, right? Each truck stop that is accounted for in the United States should count for at least 2 spots, if not more, because guys are only taking their 10-hour breaks off, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, in theory.
In theory, if you start doing that, then does all that stuff get accounted for in these studies? Or is it just someone, oh yeah, look at this, I can create a headline.
I mean, truck parking in some areas
It's
is
a pain.
a problem.
I'm not saying it's not.
I read a thing this morning in Nashville. There's a councilwoman who's in an uproar about the trucks because they're parking on the road.
Yeah.
A TA shut down.
Yeah.
So they lost a bunch of parking spots. The trucks have no place to go. And if you look at a map, Nashville from here, it's about 10 hours, right?
Yep, it's right there.
It needs some truck stops.
Yep.
It needs some parking.
There's one in White House, Tennessee, and one in Smith Grove, Kentucky, right right on the north side.
Yep. So in certain areas, I could see it 100%. But if you get out, say you're out in South Dakota or something, and there's a truck stop with 50 spots, they're not going to be full.
There's probably 12.
Yeah. So remember when we had that equipment problem? We were missing we were short on straps.
Yeah.
We didn't have an equipment problem. We had an
Right.
equipment placement problem.
Right, and I think that's
Similar.
That's the kind of what I was getting at there. You know what Nashville should be worried about though? Flying chairs instead of parking spots.
Yeah.
He's sober now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
They say.
But it's just interesting. All of these studies say this, that, and the other thing. And if you start to break it down, and I'm not perfect, and by any means do I know everything about it. But if you start just kind of taking it to the next layer, peel that first layer off, you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, does this make sense too? They're projecting with this English proficiency enforcement, 10% of the drivers will fail. Now,
Of all drivers,
of the current CDL holding drivers,
just 10%.
10%, they don't feel will pass the English proficiency exam. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe they could take a class and test back in. Does that?
How long are they in it for?
I don't know those answers.
Be interesting.
But if it's really 10%, what are they going to say then about the truck shortage,
Right.
or driver shortage? You know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, how many CDL holders are there?
Rates aren't going up.
No.
Which false news.
Which would mean, to everyone listening, if rates were going up, it would mean that there was a shortage
of trucks. Yes.
And they're not. Mm-hmm. And demand is going up. We're seeing that. Like rates are
still holding.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you guys are saying there is no driver shortage. How could someone benefit from saying that there is? Like, what is the reason that they're saying? Like, are they saying that for any type of advantage?
I think it's probably, we could go down a rabbit hole here, but
Do a quick one.
Could be a little loaded question there. Like,
there may
Taylor-
be a driver shortage.
Taylor, let's just say, you're an advocate working for truck drivers, which would be awesome, right? In an effort to drive up driver wages, you say, hey, they're few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
You need to increase the wages to get better talent.
Okay.
That's just a.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, that's
Makes
I'm
spot
not
on.
saying that's what's happening, but that
Because it would make sense, right? I mean, what you just
Sure.
described makes sense.
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Planting a seed per se.
I hear people outside this building, like people that I know in trucking world, and they're always saying a driver shortage. And I always want to go, the guys I work with
What if it's a freight
other-
don't
surplus?
think that.
I mean, the other thing is, in the old days, some of these drivers were doing 1.5 or 2 times what a driver's doing today, right? So
Right.
what does that mean? They could get more done, didn't need as many trucks.
Right.
And there weren't as many truck drivers at that time.
There weren't.
There were a lot of stay-at-home moms. So it's just a different time, but I don't believe everything you read.
Yeah, it's a weird concept to think because the biggest companies put out these studies showing, hey, there is a driver shortage or there isn't, and most people run with them, but it's different on different levels of business, I think. And then also if you break it down, we've seen it here. Oh, we technically on a Friday, if we're over sold on freight, let's just say, we have a driver shortage.
Sure.
Or do we have a planning problem?
Or do we have
A freight surplus.
freight surplus? Yeah.
You know, like you could spin it 3 different ways without even really thinking. It's just
we say it all the time. It's a 3-headed monster. You need customers, you need equipment, and you need people,
Yeah.
right? Drivers, employees, whatever.
right,
And they will never be in balance.
right. Maybe once, like in a blue moon.
Right. You know, all of a sudden you've got your equipment, right? Now you've got your customers and you don't have enough drivers. You got to hurry up and find some drivers. Well, now you have all these drivers and the economy starts taking a dump, and now the
Project pushes off.
project pushes off. And the freight volume goes down.
Right.
It's a balancing act, and I don't think that's ever going to be in balance.
No, and if you could figure it out, you'd be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, but that's in our world, right? Like, hey,
Right.
if you had some sort of dedicated run
Cheese
or
account or something like that.
sure, you could make, you could say that, hey, we are in balance. Trask does this every week, Quinn does this every week, Taylor does that, but for us, it doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
And each operation is going to be different, right?
Yeah.
Because one operation may say, hey, this guy does this every week, and that's okay, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's 2,000 miles. But if you plan it out and you could get 2,500 miles, you could do another load a week
Right.
and maybe make that driver more money or whatever that may be. But if you aren't willing to try those things, then there's always no one's doing the exact and being held to the exact same standards. So there's always going to be a discrepancy in that.
Hey everyone, Quinn with Quick Transport here. We are looking for a few drivers. We have a few empty trucks right now. If flatbedding or driving for Quick Transport interests you, give us a call, 920-764-4665. Thanks for watching.
Speaking of discrepancies, how long do you think a proper pre-trip should take?
Why are you putting me on the spot on this one?
Because I am. Do you not want me to?
A proper pre-trip will take you as long as it takes you.
That's fair.
But
Have you ever heard of the 2-minute rule?
I would say I could do a thorough pre-trip on a truck that I am using every day, for the most part, in under 5 minutes.
Okay. The rule I saw, it's called the 2-minute rule. It says 2 minutes under the hood, 2 minutes on each side of the truck and trailer, working your way down, and then 2 minutes checking your lights and your connections. So 8 minutes. So I don't think that's too far off. But that was our safety tip of the day, is even when you're in a rush, and the reason I thought it would be a safety tip is if you spend an extra 8 to 10 minutes in the yard doing that pre-trip,
Oh, if it saves you, it's huge.
it's going to save you being 200 miles away from home, broke down on the side of the road.
But you know what you can get you even farther ahead of the game?
Leaving earlier, driving
Doing your
faster.
post-trip
Yeah, the night before.
the night before, because that gives you that time.
Right.
You look it over.
Yeah,
If something's wrong, you could get it addressed.
yeah.
If you just slam the door or go to sleep or whatever, now you wake up in the morning and do your pre-trip, Now what do you do if something's broke?
Now you wasted 14 hours.
Now you're behind.
Right.
That's just my preach of the day. Get ahead of things.
Take a moment to say thanks for everyone that's listening, has subscribed and shared. We appreciate it. We shouted out Aiden's Weirs last week, and he did a great job, keeping all of his sponsors updated again this week. So thank you. Everyone that's listened, please continue to keep doing what you're doing.
What's his schedule, racing-wise?
I've got it, but a lot.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He's heavy?
He's
Nice.
all over the place.
Cool.
Yeah.
Comment of the week.
Let's get into this comment of the week.
You want to do the one that we talked about?
Well, you can do the comment of the week, but then we had a good.
We had 2 comments of the week. This one was easier to write on the board, so we'll talk about this one, and then we'll talk about the other
That
one.
one's
Read
just
from
funny.
our phones. Yeah. This one goes out to Gooden315. He just or she just misses swiping their card at the fuel pump with a smiley face, and that is in regards or a sad face, and that is in regards to the fuel heist that we talked about
The
last
card
week
skimmers.
with the card skimmers. So yeah, me too. I mean, I'm sick of this tap to pay and all that fun stuff.
I still have to, not on the gas pumps, but on fuel pumps, I still have to swipe it.
Yeah. You're probably getting skimmed.
I don't know if they have. None of our cards have chips.
Probably not. Not the fuel cards, I'm
No.
guessing. I wonder when that'll come. But anyway, thanks, Gooden. We are too. We love swiping our cards. My wife does.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll hop into this guy.
This
30
comment, I appreciate this comment.
Okay.
Thanks for the interaction.
That's a fair way to put it.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
hey,
That's all all we ask for.
we just give our opinions. He can give his, or
Yeah.
that person can give theirs. I am 100% on
Yeah,
board with
absolutely.
this.
So this is 32 rum and
Even though he
coke.
talks shit.
In response to broker
Broker
transparency.
transparency.
So I'm just going to read this, and then we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. Let me know when you want me to stop. Any more than 5% of a load is too much. It matters because the risks of hauling a load is on truckers, not brokers. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. It matters because brokers' operating costs are a fraction of what owner-operators' costs are. It matters because brokers are nothing but middlemen. It matters because after spending $150K plus on equipment, it's hard to just go find something else to do. It matters because it's the law, and it matters because brokers are breaking the law.
Okay.
I responded to him or her and said, don't you have a choice to work with a different broker? Also, how is it breaking the law? Because that was the part that caught my eye.
Yep.
To which he or she responded to, sure I do.
Them or they today.
Yeah, they or them. Sure I do.
Sorry.
But what good does that do when all of these brokers break the law? The law is section 371.3 5C of the 1980 Motor Carrier Act.
Yep, and I've got that up.
Yeah.
So
what does that say?
371.35C.
Yep.
Each party to a brokered transaction has the right to review the record of the transaction required to be kept by these rules.
Yep.
So I don't see anything in there about percentages and all that stuff. I feel like that was probably a personal opinion.
Right.
Or feeling. I guess I don't agree with the 5% thing. That's his. Why does that matter?
Right.
The brokers' operating costs are a fraction of the owner operators. That may or may not be true.
Depends.
I agree that there is a tremendous amount of risk in running that truck up and down the road. And I agree with you. Trask and I had a conversation this morning about different fields of work.
Right.
And how in other fields, granted there are skills involved,
Right.
but they can charge double, triple, 4 times the rate that a trucking company can. And it really irritates me. I mean, our drivers are skilled, they're trained, they're professional. He said $150,000 piece of equipment.
Nowadays.
I mean, we got a lot more in that
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah. In just the truck, not counting the trailer.
I mean, we got a couple $100,000 trailers. So,
Yeah.
And trucks are like $250,000. So you're pushing $500,000.
Right.
But I understand his heartache there. I guess I just don't know what law they're breaking.
Yeah. Well, now, if they're saying, hey, I'm not going to show you the records, that would technically be breaking the law.
That would
because
be.
that is
Yep.
written in the FMCSA
Yep.
handbook. But I don't think that's what that comment was. Maybe he'll elaborate more as he hears this.
And he said, hey, they're just a middleman. And
you're absolutely right.
You are
but
right.
they're also your salesperson. Find one that you like.
Yeah. And this may sound harsh, but if you don't like what they're doing, then you're going to have to go out and do it on your own. You're going to have to find your own customers or whatever that is.
If you go to a dealership and you don't like the guy or gal that's selling you the new truck that you want, what do you say?
Give me somebody else or go to a different
somewhere
place.
else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Yep.
They're just the middleman.
And like he said, sometimes it's easier said than done. Like, hey, he bought this piece of equipment to haul for the factory that's right next door to his house, right? And it's the only factory in town. He lives in the middle of wherever. And it's run through Trask Brokerage. And he feels that Trask Brokerage is taking too much. Then you got some decisions to make.
Well, and you should have made those decisions prior to buying your equipment.
And you also got to understand that there are market fluctuations, right?
100%.
And that broker may have a great relationship with that customer, but a lot of times that relationship is only as good as until the next RFQ or the next guy walks in and he's cheaper.
Right.
So, it's the harsh reality of it. But thanks for the comments.
Yeah,
100%.
There's a lot of them coming in. We appreciate it. Stop in. We can talk about it more. Just be nice. I don't want to fight anyone. No matter which way you look at it, someone's not going to be happy because if it swings in the favor of truck drivers, let's say, not that it's one way or another, right? The brokers are going to be pissed and they're going to be like, hey, stop doing this. Hire a salesman. Go do it yourself. Okay, great. But you just said it yourself. Sometimes that's not feasible.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being honest, I wish there weren't brokers. I mean, I wish everything was a direct relationship.
Yeah. I would agree.
I remember back in my early 20s at a company I was working for, we literally had a Rolodex. And
you still have it, I think.
I'm sure I've got some, yeah. But let's say we were going to
Amarillo.
Bridgeton, Missouri, and we'd flip through there, and there's Crown Cork and Seal and Ball Container and blah, 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 all these places. We call them up, say, hey, Taylor, you got a load I'm trying to get. And, there wasn't this setting up. There was initial setup, but it wasn't, hey, you had to give them consistency. It was, hey, if you're in the area, I can help you out. You can, yeah. Though that was really cool. Those days I think are gone.
Yeah. I mean, and sadly, I don't think they're coming back.
No.
Yeah. Along with rocking chairs. I think rocking chairs are a thing of the past too.
Yeah.
Like actual rocking chairs.
Why?
I don't know. Like when I picture a rocking chair, I picture like my grandma crocheting, like in an old like wooden rocking chair. I don't see those at stores anymore.
I've got one.
I have a nice one in Josie's room. When she's mad, I take her out and we rock in it. Fall asleep in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the word of the day is rocking chair.
Thanks.
In trucking terms, you ever been in a rocking chair?
Middle truck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's the middle truck in a convoy.
Oh.
Or like hiding you, Smoking the Bandit. Go ahead and give the reference.
Smoking the Bandit.
Like and it's called that why?
Because, safe place.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I thought
sleep.
the movement had something to do with it.
Yeah, because Smoking the Bandit, they had a truck in the front, a truck on the side, and one in the rear, and they had a bandit in the middle. Put them in a rocking chair. And
Did they make that reference in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I thought maybe it was the passenger seat in my mom's car because it's brake, go, brake, go.
Really?
Yeah, that's literally what I thought of. Yeah.
So I have another question for you. I'm putting you on the spot.
I listened to the podcast from last week, and I still, when you said that about my dad, about your dad, I still thought you were saying your dad was stealing fuel.
Really?
Yeah, me too.
Well, maybe someday.
Do the following names mean anything to you? Jesse Barrymore,
Yes.
Clarissa Rankin,
No.
Angelica Larson,
No.
Adriana O'Hearn,
No.
Quinn Calise,
No.
I love the name Angelica.
Angelica.
Yeah, Rugrats.
Well, they're some of the industry's biggest influencers. You know what an influencer is?
I don't.
I don't really either.
It's a
weird
internet celebrity.
an internet sensation.
Okay.
Typically with a specific
niche.
niche or something like that. You guys are on your way.
Oh, whatever.
I just wanted to see how you react to that.
So
A lot of our commenters, when you look them up, they say that they're influencers, and it just irritates me. So then I say something back to them.
or digital creator.
Or digital creator. Like, so are they just like scamming everywhere to try to get their name out there?
No, the digital creator thing started with Facebook. So where the personal profile. There's two different ways to have a personal profile now on Facebook. Used to be like you had your personal profile and then a business page. They kind of made one in the middle to where you can change your personal profile to what's called a professional profile, and then you have to designate like between 10 different things what you are. Digital creator is the most like ambiguous. There's like musician, digital creator, entertainer, that type of stuff. So everybody with a smartphone, don't worry, I'll bleep that, became a digital creator.
We have some competitors that are digital creators.
We do.
Legends.
Hey everyone, Quinn with Quick Transport here. We are looking for a few drivers. We have a few empty trucks right now. If flatbedding or driving for Quick Transport interests you, give us a call, 920-764-4665. Thanks for watching.
Often imitated. But anyway, so these names, Clarissa Rankin, Angelica Larson, Adriana O'Hearn, Jesse Barrymore was, I think, before this was all even really cool, he was doing it. So if you hear this, Jesse, we'd love to have you on. But they're spokesmen and women for the industry. So they could be sharing deep, dark, truths about the industry. They could be sharing, hey, the freedoms of the road, or how awesome it is being a truck driver.
Yeah.
And big companies are starting to hop on the bandwagon with these influencers because I'm going to say Schneider, and I don't mean this I don't know if they have or have not, but Schneider is seeing their driving force aging, right? The average age of a truck driver is going up, and the younger, the floor of the trucking industry, they say only 12% are 25 years old or younger. Well, what's the one common thing that all of these young people do? It's different platforms. Mm-hmm. So it's a way to reach all of these new people with the life on the road, or there's a guy that like goes and shows how he secures every shipment, which is kind of cool. So it's educational and getting people hooked on it.
So when they say they're influencers or whatever, was that something that they created, or like how do they become this? And I want to say about Jesse Barrymore, like Jesse Barrymore was a truck driver who literally recapped his day in a pretty funny way, would pick on himself, would talk about forklift Jimmy, and he'd rate my tarp job, and hey, I went a whole 43 miles today because of the snowstorm or whatever, and ate my Hungry Jack, whatever. He's since changed careers, but so was he considered an influencer
before his time? Yeah.
Okay.
So what these companies are doing is they not only are they paying, like let's say Schneider would say, hey Jesse, could you put out a post mentioning Schneider? So they're paying these influencers to do it because of this massive following. And we're talking millions of subscribers and millions of TikTok followers and stuff like that. To, hey, shout out to Schneider Transport. If you're looking for an over-the-road job, they're great. Here are the lanes, whatever that may be,
so
right?
They're a spokesperson, a paid spokesperson.
They're a paid spokesperson.
Just like Jordan Love is for Bergstrom.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Same thing. I'll
just
put it on a micro
using
level.
their name and their following to help promote the good. Some of these people are making, Clarissa Rankin is making $12,000 a month just on her TikTok alone.
It's, if you break it down, it's really they're modern day celebrities, right? There were celebrities of the past. I referenced Jordan Love, but athletes and actors and all that stuff. So they were paid.
They're real world celebrities. Because Jordan Love may not buy all of his cars from Bergstrom.
Right. He's probably given his cars, but
right.
So it's just the new way of being a spokesperson.
Right.
Okay.
And you've built this following, and how do you build that following? So some of them are building on content. Like Jesse was recapping, I say it like I know him, but he was like recapping all of his day-to-day stuff, right? And like his mountain bike adventures and things like that. Clarissa was saying like, hey, this is what it's like being a woman in trucking, and like hitting on those things. She's got 1 million TikTok followers.
Friends.
You're up there as a top influencer. I mean, we're
Whatever. Really.
we have 619 subscribers. We're getting there. But it's just, hot press buttons of, hey, a day in the life. Or there's Johnny Drury, he's the dancing truck driver. He does like a dance. I haven't seen him, but
Okay.
I mean, there's a couple.
So then these people put out videos. Schneider, as you referenced, latches on and says, hey, we want to put an ad in your video.
They gain a massive following. And now the next video that Johnny Drury does while he's dancing and playing ballerina, he's got a Schneider hat sitting here.
Okay.
And they pay him for that
Or
placement.
it's on his head.
Or it's on his head.
decked out
He's
Schneider
dancing with a
stuff.
Schneider hat.
Yep.
Got it.
So
My brother does it. He gets paid
Okay.
to mention fishing companies on
Wait,
Instagram.
I don't
It's just
think,
a different way of advertising.
Yeah. I would, and they're saying that it's way cheaper in the long run because it's
That makes sense.
It's super targeted.
Yeah.
It's a way for people. If you're not interested in trucking or dancing, you wouldn't probably follow Johnny Drury, right? Like, there's nothing else that you would have in common to him. You'd follow someone else. But now you have a set of targeted eyeballs that are watching your thing. And if you're a trucking company, what if you want to sell motor oil or a strap shooting gun? Like, where would you go?
Well, think about how much this does influence you, because let's use truck drivers. What did a truck driver do before cell phones, before video and all that stuff, right?
Payphone.
They went inside, they paid to call home.
Probably had
or
lunch
whoever,
at the diner.
Had lunch at the diner, maybe a shower, and went to sleep, right? And now they're sitting on the phones for hours. So it's just cooking your brain, man. It really is.
Your brain's
It's
like an
completely
LCD TV that
influencing
just
you.
left ESPN
It
on
is
too long and you can still
completely
see the ticker.
directing you where they want you to go.
100%. That's why
And
they call
it's
it a rabbit hole.
scary.
And you know that audience is targeted. So Schneider puts up 1,000 billboards around the country. How many people look at that billboard that have nothing to do with trucking and never will? The ads that they run in all of these, they know the person watching is interested in trucking.
It's all
your,
trucking.
Your conversion rate goes through the roof compared to all other forms of branding.
It's just it's nuts. It's a weird way. I'm happy that these people are being successful at it.
Yeah, good for them.
100%. But it was really when I sat and thought about this, I'm like, wow, like kind of our thought with the podcast, like, hey, we want industry, not that we want to get paid on this thing, but we want like-minded people in the industry to talk about industry things.
And make comments that maybe don't agree with what we say.
100%. Like, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Yep.
These people are doing, I mean, I can tell you that for every subscriber that these people have, there's probably 3 people that hate them.
That's how you know you've made it, though.
Right.
That's how you know you have an audience.
It's just, it was interesting.
It's a completely different way of thinking, especially for me. I mean, we've talked about this before, but I'm a pretty private guy with everything. And when you guys convinced me to even open up a Facebook page, it was.
I didn't think the world was going to wake up the next day.
But you've got to change, or you're going to fall behind, right?
Right.
Like, hey, we had to do this as a company to keep up with these people and,
Right.
and the other competition. So what are others doing? We're probably still way behind the times.
100%.
But we're head and shoulders above where we were.
Yeah, that's all
And
that matters.
it's because you guys pushed it. So good job.
You guys aren't behind. You guys are ahead of the curve. Yeah. When you look at what most people in your industry are doing, no one's doing anything like this.
No.
So you're a part. You guys are seriously a part of that group right there. Like, yeah, she has 1 million followers, but do you know when she started?
She had 0.
And to your point about making money, none of those people started
to make money. Just like
they
this,
did
right?
it because they love doing it.
And that's why you can appreciate that,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
100%. These people down and dirty love trucking, and those are the types of people we want.
And want to go to the extent to like film it and show it off, which is a whole nother effort.
Right.
Like it's it's a lot.
I mean, think about it. Think about the coolness of trucking. If you can just simply boil it down. No, I'm being serious here.
Lay it out.
You can hop in a truck today we're recording this on a Wednesday, but let's say you can hop in a truck on a Monday and you could be in Florida tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You could unload, you could reload, and you could be in Louisiana the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in Indiana the next day, and you could be home the following day. You could literally hit a bunch of states and see some pretty cool things in a matter of a week.
Yep.
Times that by 52 weeks a year, 50 weeks a year if you use vacation or more, whatever. We do have paid vacation, by the way, if you want to drive for us. But
And holidays.
Yeah, and holidays. But
401k, full insurance.
There we go. Shameless plug. But
paid weekly.
You get paid doing it. Short of, the strapping, securing, the stress that idiots you have to deal with on the road, it can be pretty lucrative. Mm-hmm. And you really don't have people bugging you.
Sure. That's the glamour side. That's the wild and free, the freedom of the road, right? Like that is
the wild and free has changed a little bit in modern age. But it's changed a little bit for everyone in modern age. It hasn't just been the trucking industry that's changed. Yeah. You can't go around shooting people anymore like back in the wild West. Like you're going to get in trouble, that's where we're at.
Things change.
Yeah. So it's just the industry, and I think it's really cool.
There are stressors.
100%.
Parking, motoring public.
Brokers. Dispatchers.
Yeah. Shippers, receivers. Way stations, all that stuff.
But sharing, you can name a positive for every negative, right?
Absolutely,
100%.
And pick an industry, and you can do the same thing.
Exactly.
Right. Anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
But sharing those stories is super cool. Like that sounds. I'd much rather watch that than the Desperate Housewives of freaking Fort Worth or wherever the hell they are now. Like that is real life stuff.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm in the industry. I mean, if a carpenter. I would watch that. That'd be cool.
Do you watch the lawn cutting videos?
No.
These guys go around.
Absolutely not.
They find the worst.
Oh, I have seen those. The transformations.
All of a sudden, it's not so bad, huh? Yeah.
They find the most rundown property in the neighborhood.
People that haven't cut their yards for years, and then they offer to do it for free, and they film the whole thing in time lapse. I'm obsessed with it.
It's super cool.
I'll never cut someone else's lawn other than my own. It's really cool, and they always do it for free. And it's usually like some old person in tears.
So it's like some heartfelt, good.
So I person. Start finding the dirtiest truck at the truck stop and just go wash it in time lapse. That'd be cool. Anyway,
Chrome Shop Mafia used to do that.
Really?
Yeah, they would get submissions. You'd be like, "Hey, my dad's an owner operator. He's been on the road for 40 years. He's had this truck forever. We've fallen on hard times because my sister's, broke her leg or whatever, hasn't been able to keep up with the truck." And then they do this whole production where they, you pick that guy. His truck came in and they redid it.
So it was like Pimp My Ride back in the day?
Just going to say that.
Sure, I've never seen that.
There was Pimp My Rig.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Did they?
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. They did
cool.
truck drivers for a couple of years. Yeah.
But they always did a feel-good story with that.
Yeah. But that's all it is. They're sharing their life experiences, good, bad, or ugly, fully true, fully transparent. Now they can edit things out, much like we do. We do this all off the cuff. It's live. But anyway, and they can share a real life, down to earth experience. And you know what? People draw to that. It's much more than the fake crap we're seeing.
So for a guy like me who doesn't watch this stuff and doesn't know what he's watching, know what you're watching first and don't believe everything you say, right?
100%.
Or everything you see.
Right.
This is as real as it's going to get from an entertainment standpoint.
But there are going to be people that exploit that and say things that aren't true too.
Sure.
Just don't like them or subscribe to them.
Well, but they're not gonna if they go that route, they're not gonna grow the way that these people have done it by
100%.
just being themselves.
Yeah. Right.
They probably don't talk a lot of politics. They probably stick to what they do every day because that's what they know the audience wants.
Right.
Well,
that's what I got.
It's kind of the changing marketing world in the trucking industry, huh?
Changing tide.
Yeah. Get with it or you're falling behind.
Right.
Adapt or die.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. And if you got a question, comment, concern, leave it below.
Lay it on us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
All right,
thanks.
bye.